Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Game 3 of this Thursday South American Contenders, and this game is gonna be hype. It is gonna be Hephaestus versus Pain Gaming, and let me just tell you a little bit about these two teams, because the stakes are actually really high for both of them. Hephaestus Trials team came in and brought some very interesting strategies and did them well. Let's get that call back to Svenko and that Doomfist, along with that Nay on Anubis. So trying new things, new team, maybe not a lot of knowns about them, can maybe push Pain Gaming, who fell 0-1 to Black Dragons. And Pain is supposed to be a juggernaut in the South American scene. They did pick up a lot of new players, but as of right now, the fear of going 0-2 should be real, because Group B is shaping up to have a lot of parity thus far. Number 1, Black Dragons, 2-0. Hephaestus, the only other team that can go 2-0 in that group, and they're definitely going to be pushing Pain to the limit. I would love to get some predictions from our analysts, but we are so close to the game. We're going to go ahead and throw it to our casters. LLC Sound Machine Company, LLC Limited Liability Corporation, which is LaFon and Lemon. Take it away.
Welcome back to our beautiful faces. It's LaFon and Lemon Kiwi. He carries in the beauty. I hope I carry in the brains, though, right?
I mean, I will fully acquiesce to that 100% of the time.
Okay.
I'm enjoying the praise that's coming in our way. Big fan of that.
We all love each other. We're so supportive. I love it.
But into our first match. I mean, third match of the day, but first map of the day. It has been exactly a while. That said, I mean, we're going to be starting off on Oasis. It's basically a map we've seen frequently here today. In fact, all 3 matches. So it is going to be something that is a little bit more in terms of what we are accustomed to seeing and control. It's a map that's high-paced and can often be not close, as we've seen so far in the series. Hephaestus versus Pain Gaming. It should be a good one here, Lemon. I'm looking forward to it.
And Boop already highlighted how important this match is for both these teams. Pain had an unexpected first loss against Black Dragons in the week 1, whilst Hephaestus won over Predators. Bit of an easier week there, but this score will matter so much for Hephaestus or Pain to get back on the horse or keep up on top, as we are here in the Gardens. Pain Gaming, full dive, Killer, Tracer, and Leviathan on the Farah, and a mirror matchup on the other side.
Momo chunked down really heavily, and he's actually going to have to stay far away. No engagement coming from Hephaestus yet. Right away as Svenko on the backline with that Tracer. Lemon, they're trying to bring this fight back.
And what I just noticed is Killer is playing here for Pain Gaming, while as Where's Mirrors. I guess they're going to be trying a new duo between these two teams, as the first cap has still not gone through. It's just rotations between the high ground, the low ground. Basti with the double kill. Pain Gaming in the number advantage, and they should get the first cap.
First couple of kills definitely coming through. Hephaestus loses out to a man. They are going to try and find a couple of final blows here, as the Mercy will go down. It is going to be Pain Gaming taking advantage here early on. The Fire providing so much air pressure, doing those direct rocket hits specifically, and now just the Diva and Tracer DMAC coming through as well. And that is, as you mentioned, that first cap going to Pain Gaming on Gardens, as the reset now for Hephaestus. They want to get back into a situation where they can take a retake. But yeah, a really aggressive first fight. Those kind of slow all the way through. And it's going to be, sort of an awkward situation in terms of the tanks being chucked out so early. They can't engage aggressively in that regard.
Lots of ultimates online here for Pain Gaming, and they're in the driver's seat. It's going to be tough here for HM on that Farah to attack, especially when his team is actually moving through the corridor. But they're looking for an entryway. See, they're focusing here on this high ground as Druster drops down. He's getting chased here by a Killer who's 57 HP. Could get this teammate here, and that's going to be huge for the momentum of Pain, who are at 34% and growing. Killer is hunting and is trying to assassinate these tanks, as a Transcendence is invested here from Hex, along with the barrage from HM, who does find at least one pick, but it's Leviathan, the king of the skies, with a barrage, finds Quesadilla here as the Mercy, and more kills running in for Pain Gaming.
That was super awkward. That Hex was surviving for as long as, or Hex rather survived for as long as he did. It was a situation whereby the Transcendence had to be forced out. They actually got a couple of kills, but they weren't able to turn it back, as Leviathan with that barrage able to bring it back from the brink, and Hephaestus now up to that 70% deficit on the control point. They need to find some entry play here, as it has been a very awkward initial engage, as HM no longer any close to that barrage themselves.
Hephaestus have been fighting and fighting for this point. No sign, no end in sight. It's 85% now, and they're only just starting to get the retake. Killer shuts down that enemy tracer. Almost gets that D-Mech onto the Diva as Hephaestus trying to trickle in. Pretty important resurrect on the Spankle that'll add to the damage. Possibly a turnover here as they've taken over a kill onto Shadow's Song. So Pain Gaming have reached 99% LaFon. Hephaestus are inches away from a retake.
They do get it back in their favor, so the name Hephaestus will start building up on the control percentage, but shout out to Momo in that last fight. A big double kill with that tank line, goes in through the back line, picks up a double, and then on top of that survives and builds ultimate charge for the supports. That's huge in terms of the ult economy coming to this next fight. Again, they're up to that 99%, so it is last fight territory no matter what happens if they let it turn over into Pain Gaming's favor. So HM now in the air, being supported by the Mercy, trying to find the direct, gets it, and it's going to be, now that's going to be the engage for the defense to go right back in. Momo does get taken out, but the self-destruct is going to find a couple of kills, and Lemon, this fight continues going onwards.
Oh, okay, Virginia just really wanted that resurrect and could open that opportunity here. They're building space, but misses that opportunity by just a few seconds, but it doesn't matter. They want it. Momo will just have to walk back to the point, as Pain Gaming will have to go again.
Again, Pain Gaming, though, they pull out a couple of ultimates from Hephaestus without actually committing anything of their own, so that's a drive fight that goes in their favor, and walking back into this next team fight, they nearly have 6 ultimates yet again. So Pain Gaming looking to engage on this next play.
And the support ultimates actually self-destruct used from Fast will push everybody off this high ground. It doesn't find anything yet, but mainly Leviathan taking out XHM opens up that barrage opportunity. The supports are missing from Hephaestus, and now it's just desperation as it's all up to Momo, who doesn't have a primal rage. It's up to nobody because Hephaestus are missing, and it's 99% here to Pain Gaming. Overtime into effect, and Hephaestus had such a good try, but it's going to end here on map 1.
Stage 1 goes 100 to 75, Pain Gaming coming back in. They just had better rotations, better ultimate economy, and ultimately, Gardens, which is known to go to that 100, 199 situation, it ended up going to 175, so though the clock may look close, that is actually a pretty large gap to be separated. So Hephaestus, they have to come back here on the second stage and take it back in their favor. Pain Gaming, an exclamation point on that first fight. They said they went down early. They're not going to do so here on this second match that they've got. And so far, it has been a lot better for them.
Pain Gaming, I mean, this looks like another mirror roster of Pharahs and actually, no, Svanko not going on that Tracer, feeling the McCree, and we've seen the power of McCree's on Oasis. The Deadeyes, so good at not only taking out the Pharah, but taking out a Valkyrie Mercy, which is sometimes so hard to hit. But current high ground control going to be fought over by both these teams, and Fast is really just trying to peel for Shadow Song, and the healing going through. We'll top up the support ultimates for the later fights, but Leviathan catching the elevator ride, picks out Svanko, 1-to-1 trade as the point will unlock soon. This fight will rotate over to the middle of the map.
And that's going to be, yeah, as you mentioned, that reset. Pain Gaming just struggling to get a couple of final blows in here. They do get the D-Mech. They might actually find something a little bit more, but HM has been completely uncontested here in the skies and has done a great job of actually hitting the shots now. Nearly has the barrage as well, and now the supports are besieged. It's going to be a barrage kill. Hey, you know what? Sacrificing 1 life for 2, that's a worth it trade in my opinion.
Fasty took way too long to react to that Pharah just raining down on their supports. You need to protect them, and it doesn't matter your frontline fight if you don't have the healing resources to keep it going in the later parts. As after I feel like it's been 10 years we've been watching this, Hephaestus are the ones to get the first cap.
Pain Gaming, though, they didn't have to use any ultimates at the end there. So though the first cap does go to Hephaestus, Pain Gaming is going to have the advantage coming to this next fight in terms of ultimate economy. And that's going to be, that could be disastrous here if Hephaestus doesn't react in time, as Leviathan over the top, nearly having that barrage. HM has just been spamming damage, trying to stay alive as long as possible.
And both these teams are inching towards support ultimates. This could be a long one, especially on City Center. It's such a high contest battle where all Hephaestus have to do is build as much time as possible, and already taking out the enemy Winston and a pretty flashy Deadeye, I guess we'll call that, from Svanko, just to zone off the reinforcements.
A great play there. Shadow Song, I believe, went down early. The Resurrect was not able to be coming in time, so the supports were left out alone, and that's unfortunately going to be an end of the fight. So Hephaestus, a great job reacting to the Valkyrie from Happy. It was a situation where they had to really show the aggression, and they did a great job of it. HM now nearly having that barrage as well and playing on the high ground. Leviathan has to fly into it.
Yeah, Leviathan needs to go get that kill, but somehow it's Hex, so HM has a free barrage kill, and he comes right above the supports. What a great Winston bubble to block all of that damage. Does manage to still take out the supports, but it does trade his own life in that process.
Svenko with a great flick at the very end there. The McCree absolutely not popping off here at the very end. It is going to be a tale of 2 points so far, as it is going to be close to that 5 ultimate situation, or Pain Gaming does have 5 ultimates coming to this next fight, but Hephaestus, great job rotating what they've got. They need to take this fight pretty cleanly, but the engagement comes in. Killer trying to find something with this Tracer.
Hephaestus only need to win one fight to send us into a map 3 on Oasis, and after a struggle in the first one, they're looking for the opportunity. Killer has a pulse bomb, and you just see them trying to find an opening here, taking their position onto the point, and taking out Hex, who had the Transcendence. Now they use their own Transcendence, and the balance of resources heavily going into Pain's favor. But all Hephaestus has to do is drop down from the high ground to the low ground, use the Primal Rage to disrupt the positioning, and just focus on picks and stalling out this fight as much as they can. They've already baited the support ultimates from Pain Gaming. Now Hephaestus have their own Transcendence.
Hephaestus have to win this. They're trying to win this fight, or at least force resources from Pain Gaming. The fight continues onwards. HM now on ground fire duties does get taken out at the last, so this will go back into Pain's favor, or into Pain's favor for the first time. And that is going to be a reset here. Hephaestus, though, they pull it to that 9-9 situation, and Leviathan switching off the soldier to get back really quickly, has to switch back to the Pharah, loses any ult percentage that he may have had. And Hephaestus, they are likely going to go into this one to an explosive fight. Still a lot of ultimates on the board for both sides.
Killer just waiting as the killer that he is with Pulse Bomb, but he's getting kind of hit with the Sparrow Rockets here, and he's got to rely on Leviathan to keep his attention away. As now he gets knocked off to this high ground, and meanwhile Deadeye in the sky takes out Happy. And the Pharmacy is completely gone here from Pain Gaming. Keep in mind, Hephaestus only need to win this fight to take at least the second map of Oasis, as Killer just trying to get these picks onto the Baby Diva. Would be big, baits him right into a middle of a barrage, but Shadow Song responds with his own Angry Monkey, getting at the supports that are fully exposed here from Hephaestus. And although Pain Gaming lost their Pharmacy early, they've managed to equalize themselves.
The one thing Pain Gaming did an excellent job of is every kill that came through from Hephaestus was traded out in some situation, in some way. Svenko may have gotten the kill on the Mercy, but he was traded right back in. And then the barrage came through, but the DMEC was there. The Primal Rage nullified any further kills they may have gotten. Hephaestus, they use a lot, but they don't get any value in terms of progress. And now it's up to 70%, so Oasis has been going further into Pain's favor. Pain Gaming, they have an opportunity here to take it away. And Hephaestus trying to work with not a whole lot here in this fight.
And Fasty has a self-destruct that he could very well set into the air to deal with HM. Try and help his game as much as he can. Killer with the finishing blow. That's one main tank missing here from Hephaestus. Can Keizajinha go for that Resurrect? Manages to do so. And meanwhile, Dreska sends a self-destruct to dislodge these members from Pain Gaming off the high ground, as the numbers have shifted towards Hephaestus, who are here to answer back on Oasis to send us into a map 3 as it flips for Hephaestus. The Transcendence from Hex shifts the resources in their favor, as Pain Gaming can only sit there and watch as Leviathan will try and put the team on his back up into the sky, as at least taking out the enemy Pharmacy, but with no more resources, Leviathan finishing things off. That will be now Pain Gaming getting the flip and securing Oasis 2-0.
Such an unfortunate situation for Hephaestus. They had the opportunity to come in and take the victory, but Svenko, he goes down through Transcendence. He's unable to get back in the line of sight for that healing, as we see Shadow Song play the game real quick. But it's going to be a situation where Hephaestus had an opportunity to take it all the way back and just unable to keep the fight going in their favor. They end up losing that fight, and then of course a 97-99 fight. There's no way to even get back in point and contest, and so Pain Gaming, an exclamation point, as I mentioned earlier, on this first map. They take it, and a 1-0 start for themselves here, and a really, really confident team, I think, from either side.
I feel like on City Center, it's really about how much you can support your supports. A lot of these fights on City Center go to the lengths, and that's when your resources to stabilize your team when it gets so long is what's important. And the use of Transcendences and Valkyries, I felt like Pain Gaming or Hephaestus lost their supports towards the end of that fight, and Pain Gaming were able to stabilize through such nice stall through the tank line.
Yeah, I actually think it's kind of ironic that the most valuable support ultimate was, in fact, the Primal Rage. It was a case of the supports not getting as much healing value as they could have out of their support ultimates, and in fact using the tanks to do a majority of the mitigation of damage. So that needs to be a little bit cleaner here coming to this next map on our second set. But I mean, it's Pain Gaming was the stronger team, and it showed in that they took the map. But Hephaestus was not exactly a pushover. They were a pretty strong. They had a pretty strong showing on that second point.
And I mean, I think the caster or the analyst has kind of brought this up. Where is Pain Gaming this season? Losing that game 5 to was it Black Dragons, who are now seeming more like a playoff team to me. Talking about Black Dragons, it's like did Pain lose that game 5, or did Black Dragons win it? If that makes sense. And Pain Gaming almost dropped that the second map here on Oasis. I had almost called that Hephaestus won that fight. And it was an incredible stall from Pain Gaming in desperation moments to actually turn that to 100 to 99 for them.
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit of a lucky stall in that what happened was people died before the overtime actually engaged, and so they were able to get that shorter respawn time and get back. Unfortunately for Hephaestus, there was the opposite, where they got the overtime spawns and not the regulation ones. So it was, of course, going to go into their favor in terms of being able to get back to the point in time. So Pain Gaming, a little bit of luck, I think, in that last part of that fight, but definitely taking advantage of it. And going into this next map, we do have, sort of an opportunity to see how do they react to it. Because again, we only saw 2 points where Pharah compositions were incredibly popular. That the dive with the Pharah Mercy combination. But going into our next map, King's Row, that might be an opportunity to see a change in compositional choices for these two sides. So Pain Gaming and Hephaestus Esports into King's Row should be a good one here, I think, Lemon.
And speaking of change, you have Pain Gaming playing Killer instead of Mures. So I wonder if there's going to be more substitutions or what is going on with that, because Killer was playing the main Tracer role, which is what Mures plays. But going into King's Row, Mures likes to sometimes take that Zarya role in a triple tank scenario. And Mures is so used to playing these tankier comps with the team. And you could expect the same thing with Hephaestus. They have quite a variety of what they like to play on King's Row. We've seen triple tank, we've seen double sniper, and they might also run dives. So we've seen all kinds of diversity from both these teams.
I mean, that's always one thing, right? Like, it's a team is only as good as they can be, as they can execute on what they're actually running. Like, sure, we talk about counters, we talk about counter picks and so on, but sometimes teams just can't play those heroes or those picks. So when you see teams that are able to have their players pick up roles, pick up positions, pick up styles that force the enemy team to react in ways that are perhaps unfavorable, it's a huge benefit, a huge boon for you in terms of your positional gameplay that I think we're kind of seeing it change up a little bit in this map specifically. We're running the same comps over and over, but you're running it slightly differently every time.
Going into King's Row, I think we could expect to see the death ball. That's pretty obvious, but what kind of DPS are we going to see? Mainly because Pain Gaming have swapped Killer, who's still actually playing in King's Row, and used to be Mures playing a lot of Hanzo, playing a lot of Zarya, as I've said. So they're trying to integrate Killer, who I don't know his hero pool. Does he play something other than Tracer? Is he a good Hanzo? Can he double sniper with Leviathan? We'll have to see what they will come up with.
Hephaestus, I mean, they're just start defense first. A little bit of a standard point positional play here. The Ryan Zarya, and then the Junkrat Hanzo to round it up. Keisha Genia, they're playing the Mercy support. So it is going to be a bit of a standard look, but on the attacking round, what do we have here? It's going to be 3-3. And it's a flavor of attack here on King's Row. Force the issue and run directly into them. Wait for their cooldowns, and away they go. Looking to see what they're going to see. Into the fight they go through Hotel Lemon. This fight is going to be really aggressive.
Yes, and they're depending on Leviathan to shield bash and open up an opportunity through Momo, and they've already got him low. They've taken their spot, their aggression here onto the point, where Hephaestus looking to ace her back. It's mainly up to the Reinhardts. Drusker actually gets from behind, sort of taking the attention away from Killer, but still, this is 2 ticks earned, almost the 3rd one. Hephaestus only now just gotten a pick and a Dragon Strike.
The amusing thing is, out of all of that, the first kill actually went to Hephaestus, but by that point, 93% of the point had been captured already, so HM, with that Dragons, has been able to zone them out. They're going to come back in with the Coalescence somehow, Pain Gaming, and they find a kill going to this next fight.
And somehow Pain Gaming haven't gotten this point. It looked really close. Earth Shatter there from Momo just to scare them off, but a responding Earth Shatter from Shadow Song. We'll sing a different tune, and the team wipe is here for Pain Gaming, and it didn't take too long to get that payload.
Athena will not shout out the team kill, as Svenko was way in the back, having died really early on, so by the time the respawn had happened, they had already been completely wiped out. But while that may not be the case, it was still a team kill in spirit, and Pain Gaming walks forward with that 3-3, trying to play up super aggressively. And so, again, they have that Graviton Surge online. They have the ability to combo it perhaps with the self-destruct. Riptire coming out now from Hephaestus, as Svenko trying to find some value with it, but Pain just walking all the way back.
That just scared them away. They do manage to shoot down that tire, but what's interesting is Pain Gaming have a D.Va who has the potential to eat this Graviton. They have to, so Hephaestus have to be very careful here of how they're going to use it, as it is launched here first by Drusker, and the Dragon Strike. Basti sends a self-destruct into the backline though, and it has an equal response in terms of numbers.
This situation is actually going to go in favor of Pain as they take down Drusker, and that's going to be just the Reinhardt available. The pin comes through, but it's not going to be enough to actually get any kills. And though it was a 3-kill situation, Hephaestus with the advantage in the kind of players that were left alive. Rally is now on the board. No Graviton Surge to worry about, so they don't have to worry about that team wipe. And they're actually well on the way to rolling through second phase if they play their cards right.
I just can't believe that combination got countered by a self-destruct into the back by Basti. What a play that caused them to now get to the end of point B, where now only an Earth Shatter here to worry about here from Momo, and Svenko is still unnoticed. Pain Gaming focusing on the ground war, where the Transcendence from Hex is going to start to push Pain Gaming back. They have to now focus on Shadow Song, lands the Earth Shatter, but it is blocked there from Momo, as a Dragon Strike should clear the way, forces Pain Gaming back, as it's still an equal fight.
Killer picks up Drusker. They're trying to bring this one right back. HM's so very weak. Kashidina trying to keep him up as long as possible. Self-destruct card's going to find Svenko. Going down. They're going to pull the Valkyrie out. They want to win this right here, but unfortunately for them, Fastia on the backline picking up that kill with the micro missiles. The Resurrect not going to be available, and they are going to capture point B here after a well-staggered out fight, and that was incredibly aggressive by Pain, just doing the rotation. I don't know if you got a chance to sort of see what was happening with Shadow Song's health pool through the entire of that fight, but up and down, much like just the sway of that fight followed through the health pool of Shadow Song. A very, very aggressive play, and that means that Pain Gaming working with 4 minutes and 16 here on third point as Hephaestus sort of situate themselves for the defensive look. The payload has already moved quite far though.
And there's been so many swaps, but mainly Pain Gaming aren't running a Mercy to power boost this Dragon Strike, and it could get powered by the Transcendence. Svenko tries to barrage in the middle of a Graviton. I think that was a panic cue of please end my life even quicker than you can. But Pain Gaming, another team wipe underway. They're heading to the end of point C.
And with that alliteration going a little bit further, it is actually going to be Pain Gaming rolling through this third point. They have a Doomfist here. They will be able to contest likely, but Svenko just touching the cart, but he get booped away. Momo able to charge back in Lemon. Grabs on Surge, but Transcendence right there afterwards.
It will keep Hephaestus up, and they got the D-Mech onto Fasty, who now has to disengage, and the only point pressure here is going to come from the Lucio and Shadow Song, who gets discorded and wiped away. HM hopping off on that Hanzo. He's bouncing around. Love the new mobility in this hero, and Hephaestus are going to stabilize here. 3 minutes and 15 left for Pain Gaming.
Happy just there soloing the fight, takes away HM. They are actually going to boot him off just long enough. Happy the clutch play. That is absolutely massive. The Lucio. How many times have we said this? Picking Lucio, what a mistake. Happy coming through, proving us wrong. What can you say?
That was the boop, but I think Happy, you're gonna ask him how did he do it? Cause I'm happy and he's bouncing around the payload, just booping everybody away. And Hephaestus are gotta be disappointed with that.
I mean, if you're happy though, you're hyping up your team. You solo the Hanzo when you're like 2v1 or 2v2. You get the kill, you come back in, you boop the Zarya off the point just long enough to capture the payload in a fight that you arguably should have lost. Pain Gaming is riding high right now. That is just absolutely amazing in terms of their team morale going into the defense. What more can you say?
That I was already kind of questioning Pain Gaming's support lineup of running a Moira and a Lucio instead of a Zen Mercy. But if you get a boop to win you a map and just kind of increase your time bank by a few minutes, you'll take that boop.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to you don't want to make like you don't want to be like super excited about some plays, you know, because they're kind of run of the mill type thing. But I think that's one. But I think that's one that you got to actually just tip your cap to and say, yeah, that was just excellent gameplay from the support lineup there of Pain Gaming, making a hero work. So a hero we haven't seen a whole lot of too. That's the other part of it. And now we're gonna take a look at sort of the defensive setup. They're looking at the sky here, our Pain. And
yeah, I got a crotch view for a little bit. I don't know how I feel about this. Okay, well, Pain Gaming got projectile Hanzo going on, and they're integrating killer, like, his name is actually Mirrors, because this is all stuff that Mirrors runs, the comps that they run with Mirrors, and he's integrating just fine. As Hephaestus coming out the door with double sniper.
And that's going to be, yeah, so the same defensive composition coming through, but on the offense, a little bit slower of a comp. They're running dive with double sniper, so they want to get around the shields perhaps as they set up a crossfire, and Pain in a better situation now, all behind the shield. The snipers aren't really able to provide that aggressive crossfire that we kind of expect to see from them.
And all Pain Gaming have to do is sit in a hotel, get out of line of sight, and as soon as Hephaestus touch the point, the snipers are not good at point pressure in terms of playing with the tanks. So all they gotta do is come in like a storm and hammer these dive tanks away. And when you do take out the enemy Mercy, that is definitely a good start to your defense.
Yeah, KGD goes down early to the Zarya, and that means that the dive just unable to really find anything. Leviathan threading the needle with that kill as Svenko picks up one, but it's not going to be enough as he's going to find a lot of damage coming through. So Hephaestus, though, they do have spawn advantage, remember, and they did get a couple of kills towards the end of that fight. They may actually want to try and take this fight right here.
Well, their teams are really low, though. You can see KGD just trying to keep up, and they got some Pain Gaming members into the backline. It'll temporarily stop reinforcements, but Pain Gaming's Transcendence trying to lead them to the point as Leviathan is just getting back with a Dragon Strike, which should clear the point, at least zone it.
Another couple of kills. Shadow Song comes through. Killer on the high ground now with that Junkrat as Hephaestus, yeah, they see sort of the situation and take a back step. They're going to reset now with their teammates trying to find a little bit of value, but Svenko, early pickoff here, and they're going to put the Dragon Strike right in after that.
Where did that Dragon Strike end up? Did it get in there from the D.Va? I have no idea, but Hephaestus now just trying to get around the edges of the point to find some picks, and they lose Drusker's mech here, and Drusker's gonna go down and force the Transcendence from Hex. They think it's a winnable fight with Momo's Primal Rage about to come out and Shadow Song getting really low. This is an opportunity here for Hephaestus.
The Graviton Surge is available. The combo, maybe they're trying to zone it in, trying to provide that combination. The Riptide are going to be used as well. Unable to make the climb in time, but their kills are already in line. It is going to be Svenko going down, but unfortunately for Hephaestus, they will have to reset here. And Pain Gaming doing a great job. They only give up that one take. They do have to go to 50%, of course, but it will not speak any sort of thing as they do have to finish the map. And Hephaestus now, they are switching compositions wholesale, going in, trying to find a little bit more aggressiveness into the team comp that Pain Gaming is running.
Yeah, Hephaestus started with the dive, and now they're going Death Ball, realizing Shadow Song is getting heavily pocketed, and you can't deal with him with a dive. Dive is supposed to assassinate and close gaps, and you don't want to be too close to someone like Momo, as Hephaestus taking their stand onto the point, but it goes right into the middle of a Shadow Song Earth Shatter with the Transcendence, keeping the front line of Pain Gaming well and alive, and on the backs of Killer and Leviathan, Pain Gaming are well on their way to full hold on King's Row.
Hephaestus now, they don't have a lot to work with, and look at what Pain Gaming is coming online with. The Graviton Surge very shortly. Riptire as well. They do have, of course, that Dragon Strike, so there is a lot in the bank here for Pain Gaming, and unfortunately for Hephaestus, the only thing they really have to work with here is the Coalescence and Dragon Strike. There isn't a whole lot here for them to come in on this next fight. They're going to have a massive mechanical outplay as the Riptire is committed here from Pain Gaming.
Dragon Strike just separate the players here of Pain Gaming as a Dragon Strike about to come in. The combination is on lock, but the Transcendence is not enough from the opposing side to heal everybody up through the massive amounts of damage. Even the Coalescence wasn't enough, as Pain Gaming are 15 seconds away from going 2-0 in the series.
10 seconds, the countdown is on. It may not even be able to get to the point. Hephaestus having their tank charge in. Momo will get all the way through, but he's taken away. They do trigger overtime, but they have not a whole lot to work with here. They're going down one by one. Dresker needs to build this Graviton Surge. They need to stay on point here. Overtime going to tick away very, very rapidly. And HM in the backline picks up 3 for himself. They have the opportunity here. As Dresker comes in with a cleanup and as overtime ticks away, Hephaestus picks up the first point.
Oh my, I can't believe they actually got that point. It looked like Pain Gaming got a ton of kills at the start of that fight, but Hephaestus just kept reinforcing and reinforcing with those close spawns.
Yeah, I mean, but again, they don't have a lot of time here through Streets phase, and Pain Gaming has ultimates available coming online that they can actually make work. Hephaestus, they are going to switch up some stuff here. They go to the Pharah, they go to the Mercy, and they do have that combination, that Graviton Dragon Strike combo. And they may actually need that just to get through this first half of point B.
Svenko back onto his Star Pharah, and this will be perfect. Only his real contest is Leviathan, and if he just stays around this corner and plays out of line of sight, he's going to get so much free damage. Just actually takes an arrow to the face as I say that, but there's the combination. 3 rockets will do the job, and a Blue Eyes White Dragon will be summoned to finish everything off.
Matthew, the only one left alive, will just stand on cart, trying to die as quickly as possible. The team kill is there. And Hephaestus, they only use 2 ultimates, and they actually start building up towards their other 4. And so that will be a one fight in every situation, in every sense of the word for them, as they start to build towards the ultimate economy. Pain Gaming, though, they do have the Graviton Surge, and they do have the Riptire. So both tank ultimates, though Svenko picks up the first blow.
But Momo could easily respond with a counter Earth Shatter once that follow-up does come through. Riptire, though, over the top. They gotta see this coming through the right side. The Transcendence keeps them up. Momo doesn't want to Earth Shatter yet, but he's soon to get collapsed on. The Sound Bear will pad him up for now, and the Barrage will reinforce this payload as Shadow Song's shield is getting so low, and he's missing the damage output his team needed to hold this one, as Hephaestus in the last minute have secured point B.
Yeah, they a great turnaround, actually. They don't actually use a whole lot. They use the Earth Shatter, they use the Sound Barrier, and they use the Barrage, I believe. And it works out in their favor. Pain Gaming, they are going to switch up a couple things now to the double sniper composition, and they are starting to build up towards a combination of abilities here. So they may have what it takes, but again, they already have time bank advantage after their massive hold on first point.
Looking to engage again, Momo gets swatted into a bad position, still getting Zarya bubbled as Hephaestus have the high ground control. They brought Svenko back for some more rocket action as they have to keep Hex protected, who has to use the Valkyrie to just keep him in a safe position. But now a Graviton from both teams gets launched a little too close for comfort, but it's Leviathan's Dragon that pierces through the sky, pierces through Hephaestus' offense, but they haven't stopped the ball from rolling.
That was a bit of an awkward situation there from both teams, and it's going to be Pain Gaming coming back with the defenses. Unfortunately for Hephaestus, they do have a good Graviton Surge. The combo isn't there from Pain Gaming, but there's just no, they actually walk back into the damage of Pain, and Hephaestus is just a little bit slower on the reaction to what Pain Gaming was actually accomplishing. So, it's going to be, you know, sort of a coming to this next fight, trying to find some rotations that they can actually take victory out of. And now switching to the dive here for this third.
Get back to the dive. They want that high ground control, and Svenko back to the Widow. Having too much hit scan pressure now that there's 2 snipers from the side of Pain Gaming, who now their backline is so solidified. It's up to someone like HM on this high ground. See if he can get an opening pick on the killer, and yes, he does it, and has, well, now a Dragon Strike, but a responding Dragon Strike. Blue plus red, I think that makes purple, but I don't think the visuals are in this game. Pain Gaming have the number advantage, and now they're trying to push back this payload.
Svenko with a huge double kill. The Widowmaker coming in clutch, but again, 20 seconds remain. They need to capture this point before time is out. The great flick there from HM on the Valkyrie Mercy. They try to get the D-Mech as well. 10 seconds left. 5, 4, like there's not a whole lot of times. The May comes into play as well, and the cart moves forward.
Oh, but is it the end here? I mean, Leviathan tried to come in with the May, and the Dragon Strike seals off the left doorways. The self-destruct also clears the entire payload. Happy, not feeling too happy you couldn't get a C9 boop out of that, but Hephaestus managed to finish the map after it looked like Pain Gaming almost full held the point.
There is a situation here, of course, as we get the quick replay from HM with a couple of kills towards the end of that map, but there's a situation here where Hephaestus gets a draw, and that's the best they can hope for. Again, 3 minutes 9 seconds for Pain Gaming to get a 1/3 of first point. So Hephaestus in a very awkward situation, trying to prevent themselves from going down 2-0 early on in this series, and Pain Gaming definitely in the driver's seat through both this map and the series as a whole so far.
I can't believe how close that got into the end, and there's quite a serious difference in time banks. There's a 3 minutes versus 0, but I think Hephaestus are happy to finish the map at all after how much they struggled on getting the point. I hope that they got somewhat of a lesson so that their second offense might be half decent, but Pain Gaming will have 3 minutes, and well, we'll have to see it coming out the doors what they decide to opt with. Looks like Fasty, who's usually a tank player, will be on the Widow, but I think that'll be up to still Killer and Leviathan to lead the DPS.
I mean, this is gonna be the offense. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So they situated themselves with a very aggressive early play. It looks like they're gonna be running with that same composition here, that 3-3 as we mentioned. They want to take this fight on point and just zone them out. It's again a third, and they have 3 minutes to do so. So play as aggressively as possible. Just don't let Hephaestus situate themselves. And this is the engagement.
They were not expecting that Lucio speed boost. They really just get slammed, and Momo's not having fun against the Brigitte on the other side. But they have their own Brigitte, but Svenko's more busy on healing for the supports at the very back, who Fasty's such an aggressive diva, has already been into the back line and back, as Pain Gaming have lost this fight into the later stages.
And this is a situation where Pain Gaming, they have a similar composition to Hephaestus, but Hephaestus has more damage output. And so they're able to just speed boost right back into them, and Hephaestus, they take the fight in their favor. So some switches coming up for Pain Gaming wholesale, as they're going to switch that Pharah Mercy combination, although they keep the two main tank lines of that play. That said, Hephaestus, not a whole lot that they can work with, and Killer gets the first pick off. This could be absolutely disastrous coming to this next fight.
Oh, Killer's just trying to break this shield, and Momo, though, could be baiting them into an Earth Shatter. Ew, it almost comboed so well with the shield bash from the Brigitte, but Killer is not done yet. Finds the supports into the back, still trying to break the shield from Momo, but now losing Hex and Svenko. Hephaestus are in a bit of a pickle, as now their main tank is gone, and Pain Gaming have another Earth Shatter for Shadowsong, who just missed.
The boot comes in to nullify the charge, but that will be it. As with there's no one left to contest, and Pain Gaming will take map number 2. Hephaestus providing a huge fight back, though. They don't go down quietly, and that will be a situation where they did the best that they could, but it's a huge thing to go against. And Pain Gaming definitely the driver's seat into the midway point of this series.
Driver's seat in the series, indeed. And you get to see that last play of the game from Leviathan, who... Damn, this guy is so good. These Hanzos, it's hard to compare them because of how strong this hero is overall. But 2-0 for Pain Gaming. And Hephaestus are putting up a good fight, but unfortunately, in overtime, they don't get a second chance at the offense. Their only chance was to stop that 3-minute offense from Pain Gaming. But let's send it to the desk. Ham, Boop, and friends, tell us what you thought.
We definitely have thoughts about these two games. Oasis and Kings Row are the two maps that Pain did take from Hephaestus. So Hephaestus not being the bestest right now, but there's definitely some hope there. So we're going to start on Oasis. And, you know, the first one was a little bit of a stomp, so we're just going to skip past that. Pain took that pretty easily. But on City Center, it was a close 99-99 overtime, mid-fight. You know, mid-fight switch on the point. So Panda, in the end, what made Pain take that round?
Well, going back and forth on Oasis, it was indeed, and City Center was definitely the one that was closer. We saw mirror compositions come out, as seems to be the play for these South American teams in control. It definitely gave way for PG on the ultimate control. Regardless of losing the point, losing the man advantage, they reinstated the idea that that's okay. That's perfectly fine. We'll go back to the spawn room. They had to use about 3 to 4 ultimates themselves, as they just got their first cycle of it. In fact, to your point, Boop, they were at 99% prior to that flop coming back over for Hephaestus. So going back to the proverbial spawn room and drawing board, coming back with a couple ultimates to reset the last team fight victory, gave them away, and that was the last team fight they needed to take the map.
So Ham, I want to talk about the flip in the middle of the point, because Pain has been playing pretty well, but that flip in the middle of the point kind of tells me that they're still adjusting to each other.
Yeah, there definitely a few unforced errors that gave Hephaestus, the chance to capitalize on it. I mean, Hephaestus definitely, they recognized it, they bowled over with their aggression and were able to make usage, but it was kind of Pain maybe potentially not 100% synced up. We've seen throughout today, just no matter how strong your individual players are, it's the team play that will really win you the maps in the end, give you that consistency to go from map type to map type, composition to composition, right? Understanding like how you're supposed to be playing with the other team members. Yeah, so there's definitely big performances coming out from Hephaestus in order to, to keep that point and keep it competitive. It was definitely very back and forth. Wasn't it like, it was like 100 to 99. So about as close as you can get.
So the end of King's Row also got pretty close for a Pain Gaming, where Hephaestus looked like they might get stopped on A, but in the end actually forced extra innings by completing the map, but they didn't have that minute. So they didn't have any time, so they didn't get another chance to attack. And in the end, Pain was able to take it, but they struggled for it, Panda. But one thing I definitely want to hear with you. So we're going to talk about Hephaestus and the lack of adjustments to goats, but I'm going to give you a character this time. So you are going to be the coach, right? You can't stomp on Coach Valamel's kind of like pride here. You got to be the coach from a different region, maybe a different sport. And you're coaching Hephaestus on how to beat goats and what you needed to do to adjust, because you're very adamant in explaining why these lack of adjustments from Hephaestus into the goats comp was not working for him.
I mean, it's more it's not just the lack of adjustments as much as it is just the positioning. Hanzo himself is really good at facing Brigitte, just not in close proximity. I mean, the arrow itself definitely goes a lot farther than a shield bash. I'm sure you would are probably thonking that at home, quite literally how a melee is going to ever outrange a bow and arrow, but it does not happen, quite frankly. And when Hanzo goes off on those flanks, trying to look for those storm arrows in the backline, just met by a shield main. He's going to get shield stunned and locked, and then you're instantly down to DPS for the defending team. So then you go back to what can we do to swap against this? And then we're going to swap Pharah, right? Pharah's fantastic in a way that you can displace a lot of different targets, but you have to come up on hitting those direct rockets, that very big 120 damage rockets. But again, you're still met by shields, you're still met by pressure, and you still have to be thinking about your own positioning. And when you're managing your own cooldowns, maybe you're going to be coming up short on those rockets, as we saw from Hephaestus' defense, which was a very hesitant swap over to deal with goats. I mean, for the love of God, we saw PG just go all the way through all 3 points on goats. I mean, it was just a stampede of them, in fact, and that's just not exactly fun to see, and you hate to see that kind of thing happen when flanks get shut down time and time and time again. You want the DPS to show up for the defense, but it's just not there because there's too much shielding. What you can do differently is take something to mitigate said shielding. That armor can be nasty, but there is a very explosive Australian. I'm trying to think of the name. I just can't. He's escaping me for some reason.
Garbage and some kind of rodent.
Yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about.
I think it might be Jake Low.
Yeah, it's Jake for sure. And once you take hero. Yeah, you got to take Jake on your team every now and then, just to displace, to pressure, and just to mitigate all of the death ball roll stampede that goats brings to the table. I mean, if you just allow their healing to continuously burst out like they were, that Reinhardt is just going to continue to cleave you all into oblivion, and that it is just very disgusting. And I had a good time watching it, but I know they didn't have a good time playing against it.
So we're going to go back onto that tank play, because right now we're seeing Momo on Reinhardt for Hephaestus, and Yax had some multiple game-changing moments last round. And so we're definitely seeing a difference in result. Is it really just who's playing those tanks, and what are they doing differently? What is the big difference of what Yax brought to the table, what Momo's bringing to the table?
That's a really good question, Boop. So that is kind of a crucial change in the roster from what we saw Hephaestus bring on Sunday. So when you are running that heavy shield comp, as a Ryan man, I'm just going to fluff my main man over here. Reinhardt, extremely important. Obviously, the shield leading the way, and how much space you're trying to take, how much you're able to pressure out the enemy. Reinhardt, get in his mind, is going to be crucial to what your team is going to be able to do with the window that you're opening, right? So you want long arms, a big hammer to, open up as much space as possible. And we saw that from Yax in droves. He's an herbivore, but he was eating meat, like just chewing through the enemy team.
Yak. Yeah. I get it.
Yeah, see, it's funny because, hey, it's very fitting, large, really tanky, big horns to make space. Yeah, so Momo, whether it's because they were playing up against Pain, who does have, a slightly stronger play style than Predators, their previous opponents, is still up for debate, but that Reinhardt battle is definitely extremely strong. We saw Momo do quite well on the Winston on Oasis, where it was very close, but unfortunately it didn't really come into bearing on King's Row. A large part of it, though, I think can be chalked up to the team compositions. Brigitte going with that mace, going through Hanzo's like a knife through hot butter, no knife even needed, and there just wasn't enough burst coming through from Hephaestus in order to go to chunk down that team composition. The 3-3, as we saw in our last series that Boop and I casted, the longer they sustain, the stronger they are. And the shielding kind of compounds, and you need even more burst, and Svenko just not really able to find those rockets. I agree, Junkrat could have been an excellent pick against it.
Well, Junkrat's just a good pick in a lot of places, right? If you're not going to be running that Hanzo, that's usually what you're going to see in that situation. But we are going to go into Anubis next, and what is crazy about Group B is Hephaestus is now down 0-2. They're definitely not out of the running yet. They're really good on these next two kind of map types, but we might have a possibility where in the second game we only have one undefeated team in Group B, which is Black Dragon. So Hephaestus is going to try to use that reverse sweep to stay on top of the standings, but it's looking pretty dire right now. Pain, are you going to take it to 1-1? We're going to see really soon here on Anubis, as we're going to go ahead and throw it to Lemon and Lafon for the cast once again. Please bring us your beautiful voices.
Well, hello, we're here. Not so beautiful faces. I hope we sound good, though. We're in 2-0 territory for Pain Gaming. We're getting into the second half. Lafon, do you think Hephaestus have a chance to turn this around?
It's been a close series so far, and so do they have a chance? Absolutely. There is always a chance to do pretty much anything, and I think if there was predictions to be made, Hephaestus certainly has a better chance than some others may expect. That said, Anubis is our next map, and what will happen here? I'm not sure. Hephaestus looked awkward on the control part of King's Row, or on the capture part of King's Row rather than the streets phase. So I think for Pain Gaming, this could be somewhere where even though it may be Hephaestus' choice, it may actually be a situation that favors Pain throughout the majority of the map, as opposed to the other way around. So it could go in Hephaestus' favor, but I think more likely Pain comes through on this one.
It's been interesting to see the substitutions come in from both these teams. That the analyst desk brought up that Momo subbing in as the main tank for Yax for Hephaestus, and Mura's got replaced here by Killer for Pain Gaming, and how they're sort of integrating themselves and still playing alongside the play styles of their team and not necessarily shifting the whole equilibrium around.
It's a very again, we've talked about this before, how different players make teams play differently, and yeah, that kind of seems like it would make sense, but it also changes how other teams play against you. And so it was a situation whereby we're going to see now on defense if that's going to come into play through the remainder of this series. Pain Gaming running that anti-dive setup that we kind of expect to see on these kind of points, and Temple of Anubis starts off with the dive on the offense. Fantastic, playing a very aggressive early play.
And he stays alive all through it. And I think Fasty's one of just the better divas in South America. You've seen him with the responding self-destruct on King's Row, and here he's so aggressive, always after the backline. And now Pain Gaming's own backline is so secure. And this, well, I jinxed it. Killer was supposed to do well, but he'll get resurrected. He'll get a second shot here.
A second shot that HM will take, that in the D-Mech on Fasty, and then Svenko's right there for the dash through. So then off tank is now gone for Pain Gaming, and there's no way to bring him back but the spawn room. And it's going to be A little bit of play here as Hephaestus trying to find a little bit more aggressive positioning. Another kill goes to Pain Gaming, however.
Yes, and Pain Gaming have taken the low ground onto the point. Unfortunately, Virginia couldn't get a safe passage towards this tank, but a bit of a messy fight here. Yeah, it's hard to tell where Hephaestus are going with this. They're focusing on picks, but there's a big desynchronization of the tanks and the DPS, and this is very easy for someone like Fasty to go and burst down these out-of-position heroes.
Next, jinxed or killed. It's all the same there, as they will take that final blow. A killer living up to his moniker, getting a couple of final blows here. And it's going to be a reset now. Hephaestus, they are building up ult percentage. Svenko does have the Dragon Blade slowly being built here, but Pain Gaming have a lot to work with. Valkyrie and Riptire on board, as it looks like Hephaestus trying to walk in on this dive attack.
And both infra sites allows Killer to find where Virginia was hiding. Leviathan still wants to use the Riptire, although the infra site will be up. It could be shot down, still finds XHM there at the back, where Pain Gaming win yet another fight.
Well, that's really clean. They do use a lot of ultimates for it, but beyond the damage ultimates, right, there isn't really a whole lot. Drusker actually uses the self-destruct, I believe, trying to get a remech back, and he's going to switch to get back into the mech form as he was demech at the end of that fight, and yeah, we'll have 0% ult charge on that self-destruct rather. So now it's going to be Svenko missing his dash and forced to take the Matrix to get in.
And not a lot of crossfire coming on from HM. They're just focusing on breaking down the shield of Shadow Song, putting Svenko in a good position here with this Dragon Blade. Sees the Valkyrie, probably wants to wait for Happy to get out of that. But how does Happy kill Svenko? This is where's T-Tors? How did that happen? Happy just taking out the Mercy pistol, and HM takes out the better one and takes out Happy, as now a lot of healing is gone. Forces Wings to use that Transcendence, and now Pain Gaming are getting bottlenecked into this area, but Shadow Song is still fortified here onto the point, and Hephaestus have gotten the picks, but they don't have the objective pressure to follow up.
That is an extremely aggressive, extremely, shall we say, ambitious a blade opportunity there. HM goes down with that Hephaestus. They're going to have to reset. That is not a great look there. And so far, Hephaestus actually been through this entire series relatively close in terms of ability. A little bit of mental mistakes here, though, on Temple of Anubis as we get set for last fight in Pain Gaming. They are loaded for bear.
Well, 20 seconds, last fight. Hephaestus need to make a stand here, and they have the picks. Now they need to follow through on that coordination, but losing the mech from Drusker is going to spell disaster. Now they get Leviathan's Riptire taking out Svenko. That's two people missing from Hephaestus. Meanwhile, Momo's at the back just trying to stay alive, playing hide and go seek with Fasty. Fasty wins that one, and Hephaestus just had a messy push from the start. They're just trying to get back in time, but Leviathan on this Junkrat won't even let them get through Archway, and Pain Gaming will full hold on Anubis for now.
Full hold on Anubis for sure. The best this map can end is a draw now for Hephaestus, and they are up against the wall in terms of what they're able to accomplish in this series. Not a whole lot left for them. It looked like going down 0-2, and we say this before, sometimes when you go down 0-2, it's a moment where you have to figure out, is your mental strength there? Can you bring it back from the brink? And unfortunately for Hephaestus, their opportunities were not available. They did not have a clean dive. They were odd choices in terms of timings for their ultimate usage, tanks unable to get really into position, and even their best opportunities did not look particularly strong. So Pain Gaming has an opportunity here to walk away with a series that really realistically should have been competitive and just wasn't, as Hephaestus makes a lot of minor mistakes here towards the tail end of this third map. And Temple of Anubis definitely going to go down as a misplay from Hephaestus.
And Virginia has been getting picked a lot by these snipers, and it feels bad as a Mercy. It's just really good mechanical skill from the other team, and you can try and go into these corridors, stay out of line of sight, but Hephaestus were just not playing out of line of sight. They were well in their vision, trying to pounce on them. But what the issue is Dive is such an early game success composition, and they were jumping on Shadow Song on this Orisa and were getting bursted down from the Junkrat and everything else coming in. So they were trying to go for an assassination type of style, but not assassinating much.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to say. It's a full hold, right? You had 4 minutes of opportunity to get through first point, and they just can't even touch the point. I think they got like 5% or something at any point in time, and that's not going to be enough. So now it's up to Pain Gaming to live up to their name and put the hurt on Hephaestus as they try to end this series in pretty grand fashion. And it's going to be a dive composition with the true dive, in fact, as they run that Genji Tracer. Hephaestus on the defense. They only have the Widowmaker to play from that long-range play. As they walk in, and that's a deflect kill from Leviathan. That's the Resurrect is forced immediately.
Yes, and now they have sights on where they'll support on the top right, and you can see they're pushing Killer with it. But what I want to see is synergy from Pain Gaming with Leviathan and Killer working together. You can see Leviathan's harassing these snipers, taking the attention away from HM as Pain Gaming start to pressure the point. But keep in mind, Pain Gaming only need to win one fight to take Anubis and end the series 3-0, and Hephaestus don't have time to lose.
And that is absolutely disastrous. Dresker's going to be demeched, and Fasty with the final blow. Killer as we spectate him at the last. It is going to go to the third. It's going to be just Momo versus the world, and with no ultimate percentage whatsoever to work from. Pain Gaming on their first push off the back of a deflect kill from HM. It's a story of how the Widowmaker got them. Shooting themselves in their own, well, less the foot and more the face in this regard, as Pain Gaming takes this one 3-0.
HM is a really good Widow, though, and when it comes to him versus Leviathan, it's a tough call, but it's the follow-up from Hephaestus that was missing, rather than, okay, Widow versus Widow, Tracer versus Tracer. It's the team synergy is so much stronger with Pain Gaming, and to the right mind, they're known as one of the biggest orgs in South America, and they have such a huge reputation from how well they did in Group B last season, undefeated, making it to playoffs, and they have a huge crown to live by, and I think Hephaestus maybe could answer back here in Map 4.
I mean, they're playing for pride right now, right? And Map 4 is a case where, yeah, you've lost the series, but how much can you actually succeed when your backs are against the wall, right? When you're mental, like, again, mental state, it's such a huge thing for competitors, and Hephaestus now has to put the fact that they're down 3-0 in the series, they're out of the series, or out of this match rather, they can't come back in it, but they have to they're playing for pride. You have to come back and try and take a map so that you have something to build on going forward. Yes, you're not going to take the victory in this set, absolutely, but you can take advantage of the fact that, yeah, we got outplayed horrifically on Temple of Anubis, frankly, but we're able to turn that around. People have bad maps all the time. The trick is, can we recover from that? And it will help them not just here today, but moving forward, going into the next series, going to the next one where, yeah, they may be in a situation where they can't actually, you know, they're struggling with certain things. They come back again and bring their play up to a high level. And I think this is going to be a litmus test for them here on this fourth map.
I'm a bit worried about Hephaestus going into this next escort map, because this was, at least Route 66, they dropped to Predators. And Predators hasn't shown to be the strongest team in this season. So I wonder if Hephaestus either mentally are going to give up Map 4, or if Escort overall is not their strongest game type. It's hard to say where Map 4 stands with them.
I mean, absolutely. And the game tape will have to tell the tale. But in this situation, it's a case of how do you accomplish. It's less about the map type and more how do you actually accomplish what you're trying to do. What are your game plans? And though we do see the next map, it will be Route 66 coming up next for our escort affair. It is actually going to be, you know, what is their situation? How do they come into this defensively to work on what they can take out of this map?
And I think Hephaestus really struggled against the double sniper from Predators, and that's probably maybe just a weaker comp they're going up against. I don't know if, hard to say, if HM is the sole sniper, like the reliable sniper for the team, can they pull off the double sniper? Because that is a favorable defensive comp for Route 66. But just to keep in the back of everyone's minds that this is a map they dropped to Predators. And I don't know where Pain Gaming sit on this. I think in Map 5, they might have won this to send us into a Map 5. The scoring escapes me, but I think this will be still a very close game. I
mean, again, this map is we haven't seen Route 66 too I mean, we've seen it in previous series. Today we had a chance to see Rialto as the map in the last set. So Route 66 will be a breath in terms of what we're kind of expecting. So the map set, though, has been very interesting in terms of how teams are choosing what they're playing. And to see Route 66, it's not exactly, I wouldn't say surprising, but it should be an interesting setup in how they look going into this.
Just waiting for the players to ready up into our lobby, but it's in the scenario of your map 4. You've already lost the series. Is Hephaestus going to answer back? Or are they going to maybe practice some stuff that they're not used to running? Like, Hephaestus were the one that tried this Doomfist May defense on Anubis one time, and that was super entertaining. So I wonder what Hephaestus might try and bring out just to surprise the other team.
We are going to see Pain Gaming on defense first. Hephaestus is going to take that attacking round. Pain Gaming, they are going to be playing an interesting composition. They're running that 1-2-3 look. So that single DPS into 2 tanks into 3 supports. And as Hephaestus gets set, it's a dive composition with that Widow Genji. Not exactly unheard of, but it is going to be Momo on that, of course, main tank as they try and find some early positioning, some looks. And HM was going to have to provide a lot of value here in terms of the damage from afar.
I'm interested to see what Fasty can do on this Brigade. It's not a common look because at least for big Earls, if you're going to set up there, you want your range DPS to be comfortable up there. And Fasty, maybe they're expecting a dive and they want to have that anti-dive character to sort of stall the push coming in. And especially with Svenko and this Genji, Fasty's going to be a hard counter.
It is going to be, though, Svenko trying to put a lot of pressure and force the rotation to get the shields away and get the Mercy, sorry, the Widowmaker, rather. Mercy not exactly known for her sniping capabilities, but the Widowmaker to get the first blow, but it is actually going to be Leviathan picking up the first kill for the defense.
And everyone forgot about HM, but he's still at the back. And you forgot about Fasty. He just came through big girls, giving the flail to the supports at the back. So Hephaestus, although they dove, and it didn't start out so hot, their supports got punished in the end.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Pain Gaming, they play the long game. They don't actually lose the first pick at any point in time. And Hephaestus, though they build up a lot of damage, it is actually Pain Gaming with their superior health pools that just sort of eke out a fight win by just outlasting the damage abilities that Hephaestus brings to the table. And Hephaestus now have to find a better situation. The cart is no longer where they can actually pressure it. They're going to come through underpass.
HM feeling the Hanzo more, likes to climb up, or actually they're pretty similar mobility, but likes that Dragon Strike maybe to zone out the payload. Infrasight can only give so much information. It's such an open point. Svenko will find Leviathan though into the back, and HM though can find some very juicy storm bows, and everybody is just trapped into this doorway and actually prevents the resurrect from Happy there as a primal rage from Momo gets a little too close for comfort there for Pain Gaming, but an unexpected Earth Shatter from Shadow Song on the defense catches Hephaestus completely off guard, as now only 2 remain here for Pain Gaming. Dragon Strike pushes them to the side, and Hephaestus are looking for point A.
Oh, Leviathan trying to bring this back, though. The Dragon, the Hanzo coming in with a double kill, and Svenko unable to find any value with that Dragon Blade. So the defense, though, they eke out some, they give up some ground in terms of cart movement, don't actually give up the point, and Hephaestus used nearly all their ultimates. It was a great look for them. But again, that fight just took way too long, and Pain Gaming was able to walk back into the fight, and unfortunately for Hephaestus, unable to find any value towards the end with their ultimate. Svenko gonna switch over to the Junkrat, trying to find a little bit more damage on the shields, provide a lot more pressure. And Pain Gaming, though, they are gonna have that armor and Fasty already up to another rally. So they will have a lot of HP coming to this next fight.
This is a common switch for Hephaestus. They try to dive and the assassination doesn't go well like they did on Anubis. Now going towards a death ball, just trying to break that shield. They go through a cave though, and you don't need a graviton when you're all stuck inside of a cave, and Leviathan's just gonna kill you. And he gives a sign of approval towards his own ultimate, and Pain Gaming live to tell another tale.
And now down to the last minute remaining. Pain Gaming using the 2 ultimates as we mentioned. And again, Drusker doesn't have the Graviton Surge now. They used it on that fight. They had nothing to combo with it. So this rally will likely be here in the middle of the fight to just nullify any advancement for Hephaestus. And Hephaestus now, in desperation, they have to get this cart moving. Leviathan on the low ground, a little bit pressured here, Lemon, trying to find some value with that ability.
Hephaestus keep going through that cave and they keep getting bursted down, giving a lot of ultimate charge to Leviathan. As a rally starts up for Fasting, he has to back off because he doesn't want to mess with that other Reinhardt without the help of Shadow Song, who's just looking for the Earth Shatter. They need to coordinate this shield bash. Momo tries to respond with his own, but that gets blocked. And meanwhile, Hephaestus 1-1 trade, but the defense loses their mercy, so Wings might bring out that Transcendence, which he does now, and this will keep Pain Gaming topped up in the last couple seconds of this fight, where Hephaestus have failed yet another offensive push.
Hephaestus are going to get the contest for the overtime, but the Dragon Strike is there, and Fasty with the cleanup. Drusker goes down, overtime ticks away, and Hephaestus will have to put on the defense of a lifetime to even get a win here in this set. Pain Gaming putting themselves well in position to get a clean 4-0. Route 66 has not been kind so far to Hephaestus Esports.
Hephaestus just their offense is missing entirely. They have so much time on Anubis. They had so much time on Route 66, and they ought to put their best carry defense panties on, because it's gonna be a tough one to hold this particular yellow box of victory for that long.
It is certainly going to be a challenge. Hephaestus now likely going to pull into their bag of tricks, trying to find something that can counter what Pain Gaming is likely going to run here, because Pain Gaming, again, they've been a very aggressive team on Route 6. They've run a dive here in the past, and so they may actually come in super aggressively. So Hephaestus may have to keep that in consideration as they get set here on defense. They don't have a lot of time. Again, that cart only made it just to nearly the first tick, or nearly the doors of first point, no further than that. And Pain Gaming just locked it down towards the end. Like, there was no real way for Hephaestus to even make it in to the to have clean fights, never mind actually getting any progress on the cart towards the last part of point A.
Well, Hephaestus is just still trying to figure out their offense. Like, they started with dive, spent a few minutes on that, tried the death ball, and there was kind of a disconnect between diving top Earls, staying on the ground, and where everybody was rotating around the payload, where at the end, after all was said and done, Pain Gaming were the ones with the ultimate advantage in terms of supports, which allowed the late game to go in their favor.
And now Hephaestus, a bit of an odd, like I mentioned, it could be an odd composition. It could be a running triple tank, and basically a solo Hanzo is their damage. Otherwise, Cage Jadinia now, as we see that Mercy trying to find some sort of, they need to find a long-standing play here. That yellow box to victory, just past Big Earls. Not a whole lot for them to work with. And Pain Gaming gonna be running that dive composition with double snipers, and so it's gonna be a hard look here now as they try and take high ground away from Hephaestus.
I like the pick of Roadhog from Svenko. Usually he plays Zarya with his triple tank. Wants more shield breaking and more pick potential coming out of him, as Pain Gaming have sent their 2 dive tanks at the very back, and they managed to get that kill onto Mercy. And this will be about a 2-fight game here for Pain Gaming, so Hephaestus don't have time to lose.
Hephaestus, unfortunately, now have given up on this last fight, as Momo the only one, or sorry, Svenko the only one left live. Momo dying in that fight. The DMAC is there, Svenko being SMG down. And with that, Hephaestus Esports are likely all but done. Momo walking back, but the Infrasight is there, or the Sonic Arrow is there. And Hephaestus unable to, they will be able to contest perhaps as Momo gets cut down. And with that, it's a slow, sad roll in, but Pain Gaming will take map number 4. And that will be a 4-0 here, as Hephaestus struggle to get even the first point on the last 2 maps of this series.
This is like the 10th play of the game from Leviathan. We gotta keep count of all the Hanzo play of the games we've seen, and I had originally had no idea there was even a Graviton. I thought they were just all stuck in the cave, and it's just a complete team wipe. And I just don't agree with Hephaestus keep pushing that cave with the amount of burst damage that the defense had set up.
But with that said, it's going to be up to our analysts to take a look at the map and just breaking it all down. So from us here on the casting desk, we pass it over to you, Boop and Ham Tornado.
And Panda.
It's fine. It's fine.
Booposaurus here, going to break down the last 2 maps for you. So with the addition of Anubis and Route 66, Hephaestus goes down 0-4 to Pain Gaming. So I would just like to look directly at the camera, and analysts, please help me. I would like to apologize for doubting Pain Gaming as much as I have for literally 5 days now. 4 days since last week, as I thought this could be a way more competitive game. But Pain, you know, this was a big game for you, and you did it. You guys killed it. You
They
played.
brought the pain.
Guys, stop.
Boo.
They've been around since 2012. They've gotten enough of this. But anyway, but Payne, thank you so much for showing your stuff. Group B is going to be so huge, as I believe there's a three-way tie for second at 1-1 amongst all of the teams. I don't have the map differential in front of me, but there is definitely a group there in the middle. So Payne, my apologies for all of that doubt. But Hephaestus, you needed to do some adjustments there. You didn't make the adjustments on King's Row, and Panda, they didn't make any progress on Anubis.
Progress is a glimmer of a word that they need to still find in their dictionary. That's for sure. I mean,
An inkling, a whisper. It's like the fruit flavoring in seltzer water. It's like barely there.
Yeah. I mean, it's that giant macro play that we keep talking about. I mean, to LaFon's point as well, I mean, sometimes you don't have those heroes in your pool to take that macro fight. Sometimes you don't have your Architect, and you don't have that Widow that can swap to Genji. So it's those very niche players that exist in these tiers that are very hard to find, and that's where you see teams getting stuck a little bit as well. Punishing reses, finding the situations to where a dive's a little bit more better off. I remember us sitting here talking about the previous matchup as well. What made dive into their counter dive a little bit more worth it? It's just being a little more patient along with it on Anubis. You know, sometimes you gotta don't go through the main choke and just call out a target and dive onto said target. Sometimes you need to take a full rotation and pick your fights, really. I mean, there comes to a certain point in time as well that a dive will go into a counter dive and it will work and it can exist because there's going to be that one target that is out of position. You just need to focus and make your team, or make the enemy team rather, make the mistakes.
Yeah, you got to kind of wait for an opening when you're running dive into anti-dive, very specifically talking to what you're bringing up, Panda. Hephaestus trying to run dive into an Orisa Junkrat, an Orisa Junkrat setup, right? It can be very difficult because what they have in shielding and, you know, traps, nades, spam damage, you have in mobility. So how do you use that to your best advantage? You have to play a little bit more of a patient game. Not sure how Hephaestus would have looked if they had Jax on the lineup, but Momo kind of seemed maybe a little bit forceful in trying to make plays happen, but he wasn't ever really in a position to do that as a solo Winston. Oftentimes, you know, maybe if they had gone, like you said, with a full rotation, get onto the high ground opposite of the Orisa, force some attention back onto the point, they could have, you know, spotted out a weak backline hero that they could have dove on and made, you know, a lot more hay with what they had. But as it were, they were literally just feeding themselves face first into the enemy.
So my question for both of you actually is, last week Hephaestus pretty much rolled over Predators. It was competitive in a sense that there were moments in all four maps where it was really hype, the fights were happening. But Svenko popped off a lot more than he did today. Was that Payne just knowing how to contain Svenko more than Predators, or is that on Svenko trying to do a little bit too much?
I'll take that one. Yeah, I think Payne definitely, you can tell this is a veteran team. Like you threw out earlier, been around since 2012. So, you know, this is a team with a long history and they definitely know how to isolate threats. I think, you know, the focus fire can immediately turn from battling the front line to any single, with pinpoint precision, and then they apply all of that and, you know, can wear down Svenko. I think it was actually a bigger chunk of, you know, why the DPS HM and Svenko weren't shining quite as well was the lack of space made by the tank line. And, you know, part of that can be on the main tank shoulders. You know, when you do have a very aggressive main tank who's well supported by the rest of his team behind the shield, that's when you can see a lot happening. You get that pocket on the right, just barrels forward, you know, hey, W mouse one, it works really well. But as we see with even professional teams, say, for example, the Philadelphia Fusion, one of their best looks was with EQO, Snillo, and Fraggy. And Fraggy, yeah, okay, sometimes he goes, you know, he's cosplaying the other aggressive main tank, Ryan Forrest, and getting himself in positions where his team has to bail him out, or he just dies. But the side effect of that is that Snillo and EQO can roam free. We all remember like the early EQO blades that was made off of the backs of the main tank or the tank line, taking up so much attention from the enemy team that he could just roam free, build ult uncontested.
Yeah, and just to accentuate off that as well, I mean, going forward, yes, Svenko is a fantastic hit scan player, and I have seen fantastic Genji play come out as well. But to go back onto the previous point as well about the coordination between targets, the patience taken from those core dive tanks in between Winston and D.Va, I think it was just played to an outstanding level. I mean, between Shadow as well, finding those dives, timely with the D.Va as well. Sometimes you can't take those dives onto enemy Widowmakers. You may not think about it, but that monkey can actually leap a lot further than that D.Va can jump jet too. So it becomes a little bit more of a difficulty when you're just chasing the Winston with the defense matrix, which is only on 2 seconds. Keep in mind, by the time that you make it to said Winston, he's dead. He's gone. He's obliterated from the world. And at that point, you need to be careful on what you take next. Now, to continue on to the point that is the giant game of chess of Overwatch, back and forth again. I think Ham hit the nail on the head again. It all comes down to patience. You need to pick your fights. You need to really focus on what is the biggest thorn in our side coming out of side of Pain Gaming, and let's focus on that instead of just trying to pour out these compositions and try to take these 1v1s, because if you can't take the 1v1s, Widow v Widow, and come out on top, I would say probably 2 out of 3 times, if not all the times, then it's just not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna try to put my own analyst hat on just for a second, kind of dual role these things. My kind of take on some of what Pain was able to do was they were forcing Hephaestus to play Pain style and Pain's gameplay. So they were forcing them into a type of game it felt like that was very uncomfortable for Hephaestus, and that I think speaks to the experience. Even though they haven't been playing together for a long time, a lot of those guys have been around for a very, very long time. I think the organization started in 2012, but Pain Overwatch, I believe, has been endemic since the beginning. If I'm mistaken, I am sorry, but do you guys agree with that sentiment? Is it a sense of, did Pain just force Hephaestus to play the way that Pain wanted them to, right? Was it the control of the tempo, the control of the game, and overall control of the pressure?
I would say absolutely. It wasn't just a case of the DPS outperforming, but overall you saw that Pain was always constantly dictating the tempo of these games, whether it was with, real actual team wipes or just, throwing out a Dragon Strike when they knew that Hephaestus was trying to engage, forcing them to stay on their toes. You're never 100% comfortable. I think, I'm actually going to throw it even further back to King's Row, where we saw that Kejadinia was doing a really great job on Mercy, by the way, but it's just the fact that your DPS, the Hanzo, Svenko's, or HM's Hanzo and Svenko's Pharah were playing so far apart. So she has to worry not just about the Pharah in the air, the Hanzo on the flank, the heavy tanks on the ground, all of which need your healing. A Tickle Zen Orb is not going to be keeping up a Reinhardt, against a Moira on the other side. And so it's just stretching these resources very thin. Any kind of small tempo change, like, there's Bane of all support players anywhere, the little medical sign, like, need healing, need healing. Everybody needs healing, and a single breath in the wrong direction, if the Mercy, say, zoned away by a Dragon Strike coming out from Pain, she can't get to the Mercy or the Pharah in the air, and that crucial 2 seconds, you lose the Pharah, it's a 6v5, you lose the fight.
It exhibits a lack of control, right? That hummingbird look that Mercy was repping is not a look that is, I'm in control of this fight, Panda.
Yeah, and just to accent on that as well, I mean, when you're stuck inside a resurrection animation as well for Mercy, and you're not communicating said resurrection, the frontline may still venture off on their own to where they don't have the sustainability that Ham was talking about. The Mercy not Guardian Angeling, keeping that toggle for the effective healing and damage boost to accent the frontline pressure that Reinhardt and Zarya can affect, Winston D.Va respectively, because that's what we saw a lot today of just a lot of dive in general. And
yeah,
I'm actually going to disagree with it altogether. I think this was Hephaestus' game to lose, funny enough. The only reason why I'm saying this is the last play of the game is going to instill so much deep thought into how little they did to set up their backline. Zenyatta never really had a fighting chance to set up for Transcendence, as there was too much hypo-aggression to come through. Ill-proper positioning from a DPS to properly anchor the Mercy to get out of a team fight. I think it was just a whole bunch of desynchronization that was coming out from Hephaestus altogether across these 4 maps, though they still looked fantastic and had a strong showing regardless of what the stats on these escorts and assault maps may be, being full held regardless. They still showed some good properties to where they could make a headway. I just don't think that dive is going to be it. You may argue to disagree it, or it's just that dive does take a lot of coordination. And when you don't have that trust in between Winston, Diva, and backline, frontline, nobody's going to get set up properly. You're going to get very desynced. You're not even going to set up an ult economy, and then it's just not going to be a good time.
Well, that is all for us today. So thank you, Ham. Thank you, Fanda, for making such a wonderful desk. And thank you, Lafon and Lemon, for casting these games. So that is going to be all for us. So make sure to check us out next Sunday, or this Sunday, when we're going to get a chance to see Group A for the first time. So that's Brazil Gaming House, Revolt's, a lot of fan favorites. So Group A is going to be on deck for the 15th, but for today, Black Dragons is going to end up on top of Group B as the only 2-0 team. So they're looking pretty good in terms of playoffs already. 2 games might not feel like a lot, but in 6 weeks, it definitely is. So one more thing as well, in case you were all wondering, we are all representative of Broadcast.gg as well, which is a community for hosts, producers, analysts, and casters, and really anyone in between to join and learn more about the field as a career. And so all of us are in there. We give advice. A lot of really famous casters come in and do podcasts and give advice as well, and everyone is super awesome. So please go to our Twitter, broadcast.gg, spelled out. You can find the link to our Discord and join our community there. We'd love to see you. Introduce yourself. We'll all say hello. But for the rest of today, that is it. We will see you all on Sunday. We're signing off.
When I get the time, told you I'm a call. I mean to lie. The writing on the wall. If we read between the lines, I'm in the fast lane. In my rearview mirror, I see her alive. I've been in the fast lane. Now I'm blinded by the glow of the lights. Baby, now I'm saying so long. Gave me a second chance. Baby, hear me out. I'll call you up for friends. When I'm touching down, tell you what I saw. When I get the time, the writing on the wall. If we read between the lines, I'm in the fast lane. In my rearview mirror, I see her. You wanna turn me off. You wanna flip the switch. I wanna break the lock. I know what makes you tick. We used to be so young and free. Yeah, baby, don't treat me like a machine. I could still be just what you need. No, baby, don't treat me like a machine. Wanna go